love. Welcome back to Confidently Cherished. And today we're going to talk about why it is so important that a man invests in you in a relationship. Now, before I say anything else, I want to make this clear that this episode, especially, but also really my advice in general, is aimed towards women who are dating for marriage. So if you are at a stage in your life where you're dating just for fun, or you were in a bad relationship and now you're dipping your toes back in the water, and you're dating but you're not at a place, you're not healed enough where you will be ready to commit to someone, a lot of my advice doesn't necessarily apply to you. If you have other purposes for dating other than marriage, then, I do one-on-one coaching. You can always message me on Instagram or on my website, and we can talk about specific dating for what your purposes are. But I'm saying all this because I'm serious. Don't try to come for me. If you're dating just to have fun, if your intention isn't marriage because you're triggered by what I said or what I'm about to say in this episode, I'm going to say some things that will trigger a fair number of women in general. And I don't want to hear it. So that disclaimer out of the way. We're talking about why it is so important for a man to invest in you. And the reason why I am doing this episode, that will hopefully be a short episode. I know I said that the past few times, but I'm serious this time. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I have seen so many pick-me's on social media. And it's kind of irritating, honestly. There are men will make posts about the woman that he's with or some woman that he randomly knows or whatever, not liking the size of her engagement ring. And, you like what you like. When my husband and I got engaged, or before we got engaged, I told him that I wanted a ring that was unique, and he delivered on that. But also something that was still a little bit on the smaller side, because at the time I traveled a lot. I didn't want to be a target. So it's not necessarily a matter of taste. That's the problem. But there were women in the comments who were like, well, if you really love the man, you would be fine with an onion ring, or you'd be fine with a chicken nugget or some bull like that. Because no, you wouldn't be fine with that. You shouldn't be fine with that. Or women who post in comments that like they go 50-50 on first dates, that they never allow a man to pay for anything, because if they allow the man to pay, the man will expect something in return. Girl, stop. He is getting something in return, the pleasure of your company. And if you don't think that the pleasure of your company, that someone having access to you and being in your presence is not enough, you should not be dating. You should be going to see a therapist first. A man, if he's really interested in you, will invest in you, and he should invest in you. Let's make no mistake about that. But again, let me get into these 3 reasons why. So, number 1, the reason why a man should invest in you is because you're not fooling anybody. Here's the thing. The truth is, when women make posts about how like they're so low maintenance and they're so easy, and they don't need all these things that other girls need. I'm not like other girls, I'm more like this. It usually comes from a place of hurt or low self-worth or low self-esteem. And I say this because I know this because there was a time where I was that girl. So I'm not coming down on anybody, but at the same time, I've lived it. So I know what it's like to be in that position where you feel like you have to do extra, or you have to be something different, or you have to prove that you're different in order to get the guy that you want. The fact is, and again, I know because I lived it, the majority of the time when a woman says that she's okay with bare minimum treatment, and then she gets said bare minimum treatment, she ends up being jealous of the women who are out here who actually expect to be well loved and expect to be cherished and get that treatment. She ends up jealous of these women who really are not doing anything fantastical. There's no miracle happening. Like on TikTok, you see videos of a man treating his girlfriend or his fiance or his wife well, and the comments are flooded with women being like, "Where'd you get him at? Is that on Amazon?" And it's like, no, these videos are bare minimum. Like, don't get me wrong, I love watching couple talk. I really do. But a lot of the things that I see women oohing and eyeing over and being like, "Oh, I wish my man was like that. Like, I wish my man gave me flowers," or, "I wish my man was up to act silly with me and dance with me and stuff like that." If a man is interested in you, he will do those things. He will give you gifts. Masculine energy is provider energy. So, if he's really interested in you, he will find ways to take care of you. That taking care of part can be different in different relationships, but the feeling that you get from it, that feeling when you know that you can depend on your man, when you know that you feel safe with him, when you feel taken care of, that is a universal feeling. So when you are truly provided for, cherished, cared for, you will know that. And you will also know that, again, 90% of what you see on couples TikTok is bare minimum behavior, not anything special. The last thing you want to do is put yourself in a place where you resent other people, you feel jealous of other people, because instead of working on your own self-worth, instead of working on your own boundaries, spending the time to assess your own needs, you're out here keeping your mouth shut and watching other people. Boo, closed mouths don't get fed. They don't. They never will. That brings me to point number 2. If you are in a relationship, you will always be treated the way you allow yourself to be treated. And this actually isn't just about romantic relationships. It is every relationship. If you allow family members to walk all over you, then they will continue to walk all over you, even if they love you. If you allow, people at your job to overstep your boundaries, they will continue to. Your friends will do the same thing too. Because, one, it's just easier. It's the path of least resistance. If you're not putting up boundaries, then, people aren't going to really put in the work like that to make the relationship work if they know that they don't have to do very much. And also, people don't know that you have a problem with it. Again, closed mouths don't get fed. If you don't speak up and say that something bothers you, you can't get mad at people for not knowing that you're bothered. So when you go online and you say that you have no problem with men giving bare minimum treatment, or for some men, they talk about behavior where the bar is in hell and you don't mind limboing under that bar. What do you expect? You are putting yourself in a situation where you are racing for the bottom. You are competing for men who are bottom barrel men, because you certainly aren't competing. Not that you should compete anyways, but you know what I mean? You're certainly not out there putting yourself out there to be courted, to be dated by men who are high value, because they're not going to want what's cheap. They're not going to want a woman who's okay with bare minimum. They're not going to want someone who allows herself to be treated any kind of way and anyone can have access to her. And I'm not talking about sexually. I'm talking about your time, your energy, accepting mistreatment just because you don't think you can do better. Dating is not just about putting yourself out there and going out and meeting someone. There's a huge component of mindset, and people can only love you at the level that you love yourself. Having a man love you is not going to be a cure for not having that love for yourself. In fact, it's only going to make it worse because, again, if you don't love yourself, if you are at a place where you will accept anything, you'll get anything, and it'll just reinforce these ideas of you feeling like you aren't loved. You know, I always tell my clients that our relationships are related. You know, I think about when I first started as a dating coach. You know, even now, if you want to work with me one-on-one, we can talk about what that investment is. But even now, I am not the most expensive dating coach that you will ever encounter, but I am also sure as heck not the least expensive either. But there was a time where when I first started out, I was coaching for free. I did that for a couple 100 hours. And then after that, I was very, very cheap for a while. And I noticed that as I raised the investment to work with me, the clients that I got were better. Like, they were really putting in the work. They had better results. Like, I feel bad actually for some of the women that I first coached when I was doing the free stuff, because I feel like, I mean, it goes both ways, because they didn't make the investment in me. They also didn't put in as much effort. You know, a lot of times it was just like they took advice that they liked and disregarded anything that I said that they didn't like. But I feel bad because also on the same end, like, I didn't require that investment, and not just the money, but I didn't push as hard on the things that I ask my clients to do now, with like journaling, with like really taking the time to do the inner work and to be introspective and everything, because on both sides there wasn't a whole lot of investment, right? Dating is no different. So when you have a buy-in to the relationship, and again, not just money, but when you are out here dating, you need to expect a man to spend a lot of his energy on you, to put forth effort into planning dates, to spend quality time with you. So if you're not expecting those things, what happens is, not only do you get resentful, not only do you end up feeling worse about yourself, but if you're putting in time and effort to make this relationship work and he's also not really going to fall in love with you the way that you would like, because men don't fall in love through sex. They don't. This is one of the reasons why I encourage the women that I work with to, if they're not waiting until marriage, at least wait until the relationship is more serious, because men fall in love when there's quality time spent and when, they have more of an investment. And side note, If you want me to talk more about that in particular, about how men fall in love, let me know. I'm on Instagram at Keisha Rice. I'm on TikTok at Keisha Rice. Because I really would love to talk more about that, but this episode would be hours long if I did that. So, again, we're trying to keep it short. So with that in mind, like, message me and I can like spend some time on actually working on an episode like that. But again, you get what you tolerate. So if you set the bar in hell, like, do you really expect to be treated well in the relationship? And number 3, and this is why, 15 minutes ago, I mentioned that this episode in particular is for women who are dating for marriage, because expecting a man to invest in you is a matter of practicality. Again, number 3 is expecting a man to invest in you is a matter of practicality. I hear women say all the time, oh, well, like, I don't care, like, where we go on dates and everything, because I'm not picky like that, and I'm not bougie like that and everything. We can go to McDonald's. Okay. Maybe you really don't care, and maybe you like McDonald's. Maybe you like fast food, you know? I'm a Chick-fil-A fan. I believe that Chick-fil-A was created by God. So I don't mind if my husband and I go there now. At the same time, if you are dating someone and they can't, or even worse, won't take you to someplace nicer than that. Actually, I said even worse, but I don't know if can't or want is worse. I think they're equally bad. But if they don't have the resources or aren't willing to put forth the resources to take you to a nicer restaurant, how do you think they can afford to be married and start a family? Because marriage costs money. Like, it just does. Yes, there are some benefits to being married, and the fact that, you know, you can share resources if you want to. Yeah, you can also choose that you want to be provided for, but even if you decide that you don't want to be provided for in a relationship, let's just go with that, because so many women are saying they're modern now, they don't need anyone to take care of them. Even if you are going 50-50, it's still cheaper than living alone, because that means you're splitting the bills, right? So there's that cost savings, but at the same time, if you are in a relationship with someone and you are building together, then you're doing things together, like possibly saving for a home, especially if, you know, you're dating and you're younger. You're not at that point where, you know, maybe you've been married before, or you've been in a partnership before, so, or you climbed the corporate ladder enough, your business made enough money that you're able to buy your own house. There's still the majority of people who are getting married didn't own homes before they get married. So that's an expense. When you are married, you know, you may be deciding that you want to start a family, that you want to have kids. That's an expense. You know, there's so many things when it comes to being married that you will be putting in money for as the two of you build together. And are you going to tell me that a man who can't afford to take you to a decent restaurant once or twice a month is suddenly going to be able to provide for a family? Are you going to tell me that a man who is stingy and who never gives gifts is suddenly going to turn things around and be generous to, like, his kids? No, it's not going to happen. So you have to understand that the generosity that you're getting in the dating process is even better than the generosity that you're going to get when a man thinks that he has you. So if you already start with the bar in hell, you're really not getting anything when you get married. And especially if you are a woman who's thinking about having children, it really is not just about you. It's about your legacy as well. Your legacy, your kids, and making sure that they have someone who's going to be a real father to them. Back to, it's not just about money. Again, a man needs to invest effort and energy and time as well. And if he's not investing those things in you, he's probably not going to really invest those things in his kids either. So if you are the type of woman who is single and you're looking to get married and you're looking to start a family, or you already have a child or children and you want somebody who is going to take an active parenting role if they marry you, then you can't afford to be with someone who is dusty. You can't. Life is short and time is the biggest, best, most important commodity that we have. So in general, you can't afford to be with a dusty. You need to know that you're with a man who truly cares about you. And men show how much they care by the amount of effort that they put in. Point blank, period. So I don't want to hear any women say, well, he told me that he was busy, or he told me that he doesn't really know how to be a father. He told me that he doesn't really know how to be a man. His dad wasn't around. All this stuff. Because I know most of my audience. A lot of you have also faced adversity, whether that is you also didn't have a father growing up, or you were in unhealthy, toxic relationships in the past, or you were bullied and that's affected your self-esteem. My point is, a large number of you have had trauma that you overcome, or that you are actively in the process of overcoming by seeing a therapist, or by seeing another dating coach or life coach, or by working with me. So if you were able to take those steps to heal, it is reasonable to assume that any man that you're with, if he has those types of issues as well, that he is also more than capable of taking those steps to heal. And if he wouldn't do it for the woman he supposedly loves, then if he wouldn't do that while dating, what makes you think that the marriage is automatically going to change that? Or having kids is automatically going to change that? Because let me be honest with you. Men and women look at those things a lot differently. And honestly, a lot of men look at marriage and kids as guaranteed access to you. A good man who truly loves you, who again is willing to invest in you, sees those things as added benefits to his life. You know, he wants to marry you because he can't wait to spend the rest of his life with you. He wants to have children with you because he wants to create a legacy, and he wants kids who are as amazing as you are. But there are other men out there who are not so great. And, you know, marriage and kids are just guarantees that you're never going to leave, no matter how much crap they put you through. So it's important that you choose wisely. And that choosing wisely means that the man has the ability to invest in you. You know, he has a stable job. He's financially stable. He has the time to date. He has the time to get to know you. He has the willingness to put forward effort. So he needs the ability, and he also needs that willingness. He has to want to put time and effort into you, and he sees you as an investment in his future. If you don't have those things, you don't need to be in the relationship. And again, for those of you who go on social media and tell the whole world that people don't need to put any effort to be in a relationship with you, they can have access to your time, they can have access to your heart, they can have access to your thoughts, to your values, they can have access to your body without doing anything, without giving you anything. I hope that you'll rethink that. I love you so much. And I really say all of these things from a place of love. So I will talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to screenshot it, post it on social media, tell your friends why it was a great episode. Tag me. I'm at Keisha Rice, KeshiaRice. And I also understand it's a touchy topic, so feel free to DM me as well if you really enjoyed this episode. I will talk to you soon. Love you so much. Hey there. So you made it all the way to the end of the episode, which means I have two things to say. One, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And two, you like me. You really like me. So I would appreciate it if you would show that like by subscribing to this podcast so that more people can hear about it and enjoy it as much as you do. And if you want to know more about any of the links that I mentioned on this episode or any guests that I've had, be sure to go to KeshiaRice.com/links. That's KeshiaRice.com/links. I can't wait to talk to you again in the next episode. So see you then.